Hello, scholars, and welcome to Math with Mr. Ray. The very first thing you want to do is, well, let me cross this out because you won't have this on your paper. So um, you want to write your name and you want to circle your cohort. Now let's continuously represent division with remainders and fractions. So the very first thing you want to do is create your ratio table. One group of 6 is 6. Two groups of 6 is 12. 3 is 18. 4 is 24. 5 is 30. 6 is 36. 7 is 42. 8 is 48. 9 is 54. Then you want to write your problem in standard algorithm. Okay. It's this divided by this, cover up, back up, got enough, no, back up, got enough, yes, give the man a seat, count by 6, don't pass up 58, go. 6, 12, 18, 24, 30, 36, 42, 48, 54, and then 10 groups would be 60, but that's too big, so oops. Back up, a 9 pops up. 9 times 6 is 54. Hook your line, subtract, 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 subtract. 58 minus 54 is 4. Pull down one shade. Every time you pull down one shade, divide, you count by 6. Don't pass up 40. Go. 6, 12, 18, 24, 30, 36, 42. Oops. Back up. A 6 pops up. 6 times 6 is 36. Hook your line, subtract, 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 subtract. 0 minus 6, you can't subtract 0 minus 6, so you have to borrow 10 from 4 tens, and that'll be 3, and that'll be 10. 10 minus 6 is 4. 3 minus 3 is 0. Pull down one shade. Every time you pull down one shade, you count by 6. Don't pass up 45. Go. 6, 12, 18, 24, 30, 36, 42, 48. Oops. Back up. A 7 pops up. 7 times 6 is 42. 42. Hook your line, subtract. Subtract, subtract, subtract. 45 minus 42 is 3. For division, keep quotient. Remainder becomes denominator. Divisor becomes, I'm sorry, remainder becomes numerator. Divisor becomes denominator. So your answer will be 967 and 3, 6, and then simplify. The greatest common factor shared between 3 and 6 is 3, so you divide by 3 over 3, and you get 1/2. Final answer, 967 and 1/2. All right, let's go to the next problem. So we've been working on double number line. And what I really want you all to be able to do is read the problem and annotate important information to figure out what's your ratio so that you can understand what batches we're talking about. So a particular shade of orange paint has 2 cups of yellow paint for every 3 cups of red paint, right? On a double number line, circle numbers of cups of yellow red paint needed for 3 batches, right? So I circled a lot of information, but what I know one batch is equivalent to 2 cups yellow for every 3 cups red, which is here, batch 1. We're looking for 3 batches, right? We also know our batches can be multiplied by our original ratio. So the ratio of yellow to red is 2 to 3, and we multiply by 3/3, we will get 6/9, which makes sense. Batch 3. It makes sense in multiple ways. The first way it makes sense is that we know this is an equivalent ratio, and we know for our batches to work, or for it to have like the same exact shade, right? We have to multiply it by 3, our original by 3, right? 2 times 3 is 6, 3 times 3 is 9. So this will be batch 2. This is batch 3, batch 4, batch 5, and batch 6. Because if I multiply batch 1 times 2, I get 4 over. If I multiply it by 3, if I multiply it by 4, if I multiply it by 5, and if I multiply it by 6, this is what I have. All right, let's go to the next one. So it says Priya makes chocolate milk by mixing 2 cups of milk and 5 tablespoons of cocoa powder. Draw a diagram that represents 2 batches of her chocolate milk. So what do I know? I know that one batch is 2 cups milk and 5 tablespoons cocoa powder, right? So it says create a diagram. So I'm gonna create 2 different diagrams. The first diagram, I'll create a table. So we're doing milk in cups, and we're doing cocoa. I don't know why I want to put A before the O, but it's the O before the A, and tablespoons. Our original ratio is 2 cups of milk to 5 tablespoons. Now, I'm trying to represent 2 batches. So my find represent 2 batches, right? So I know this is 1 batch. So I know in order to get to 2 batches, I need to multiply times 2 on both sides. And that'll give me 4 to 10. If I wanted 6 batches, I need to multiply by 6 on both sides. 2 times 6 is 12. 5 times 6 is 30. That's how we look at it on a table. Another thing what we can do is what we've been working on. We've been looking at double number lines. We want to put our representation here. So the top is going to be cups of milk. And on the bottom is going to be tablespoons of cocoa, right? No batches is 0. We know one batch is 2 cups of milk and 5 tablespoons. We know if we want to create 2, which is 1 batch, we know we want to do 2 batches. We know we multiply 1 times 2 to get 2. Do the same here, and that'll be 4. Do the same here, and that'll get 10. So we just did it 2 different ways. And same thing, if we wanted to do 6 batches, multiply times 6. 2 times 6 is 12. 5 times 6 is 30. So here you saw it 2 different ways. Go ahead and pause, rewind if you need to. All right, let's look at this problem. Okay, here's a diagram that describes the cups of green and white in a mixture. So green paint is 2 cups, white paint is 1 cup. Select all the statements that correctly describes the diagram. So what do we know? First of all, we know that since it's the same thing on both sides, we know this is 1 batch and we know this is the other batch, right? So we know that 1 batch is 2 cups of green and 1 cup white. So we can just select all. So we know more than one answer. Let's do a table. I love doing tables, and I'll do a number line too, a double number line, just so that you can see it in 2 different ways. The table says we're representing green and white, both in cups, units matter. You want to always put the original ratio. Um, 2 cups of green, 1 cup of white. And we want to use our alphabets to help us out. So for A says the ratio of cups of white to cups of green is 2 to 4. We know we said cups of white first, so the number that comes first represent what's talked about first. So for cups of white, you want to put 2, and then cups of green, you want to put 4. And I know that I put that correctly because white is 2, and this is the white side, this is the green side. And I want to see if this is equivalent. To get from 1 to 2, you multiply by 2. To get from 2 to 4, you multiply by 2. So that is equivalent, right? Because 2 to 1 equals 4 to 2. So A is correct. B, for every cup, we know cup means 1. There are 2 cups of white. So cups of green, so I'm gonna put 1 under green, and then 2 cups of white, so I'm gonna put 2 under white. To get from 2 to 1, you divide by 2. To get from 1 to 2, you multiply times 2. That is incorrect because if you're dividing by 2, it's also like you're multiplying by 1/2. And it's not multiplied by the same thing. So that is incorrect. I could show you here. So it's saying 2 to 1 is equal to 1 to 2. To get from 2 to 1, you multiply by 1/2. To get from 1 to 2, you multiply by 2. It's not equivalent. C, the ratio of cups of green paint to cups of white paint is 4 to 2. Since green paint is first and the number 4 is first, green paint represents 4. So you want to put 4 here. And then white is 2, so you want to put the number 2 here. We know A is also true, so we could just know that C is correct. For every cup means 1, there are 2 cups of green. Oh, cup of white. So I need to put 1 under white, 2 cups of green, 2 under green. And that also represents my original ratio, 2 and 1. D is correct. In E, the ratio of cups of green to cups of white is 2. So 2 for green and 4 for white. Right? To get from 1 to 4, you multiply times 4. To get from 2 to 2, you multiply times 1. So that is incorrect. Here, you can put green, you can put white, 0 and 0, one batch. One batch of green is 2, and for one batch of white is 1. And so it says the ratio of cups of white to cups of green is 2 to 1. So 2 white, 4 1. Let's see, when there's 2 white, there's 4 green. And yes, so that is correct. Do you see how I was able to use this to determine my answer? All right. Go ahead and pause, rewind if you need to. Now you have to do these on your own. I'm looking forward to seeing if you do.